Check, check, check. Yes, but no, but yes, but no. That's not nice. That's not nice to say. What's going on, you beautiful people? Welcome to another episode of the Echelon Broadcast. So, this is something that I've gotten a few times recently, and I feel it's probably something to discuss. Can you make money on YouTube? And the answer? Well, yes, but no. Yes, but no. And let me explain. So traditionally, most people's concept of getting on YouTube is that you make a bunch of videos, you create a lot of attention and fame and a little bit of notoriety around yourself. And at some point, given enough views and enough followers, the magic of YouTube actually endows you with money, just sprinkles money into your bank account somehow. It might be through PayPal, or maybe they just show up as a fairy in the middle of the night and actually put money, just straight cash money, into your wallet. The fact of the matter is, YouTube being the second most used search engine in the world, and we all know this because a lot of times we are more intent on actually finding a how-to or instructions and tutorials on YouTube than we are on actually Googling and then reading up on how to actually do that thing. Sometimes if we need a little bit more details and specific things, or more focused answers to very niche questions, we can go on forums and look for those things on, say, something like a platform like Google itself, or maybe go to Reddit. But a lot of times, for the general user, most people will go to YouTube to find how-tos, and that's actually the key, is to create how-tos for people. So if you're trying to have to sort of reach out and talk to the people that you serve, the types of people that you want to be clients and customers for your business, it actually does you a lot of good to create content based around the most common questions that people have around your business. So if you happen to be a dental hygienist, what do most people talk about or ask about in that space? What do most people talk about or ask about when it comes to cars, if you happen to have an auto body shop? Just talking about cars themselves, those questions are uniquely different from the demands of an auto body shop in a dry, arid region such as California, and then an auto body shop that is in a humid environment like, say, Florida. So those are very unique and specific demands. So there's always room to create content around the questions and concerns of the clientele that you serve. That being said, to answer the very specific question of can you make money on YouTube, you can, given that you have the broad reach of thousands, if not millions of customers or millions of followers. But honestly, for most business, that's an entire process in itself to go down. That the path of actually establishing yourself as an influencer or having that level of followership on YouTube can be a challenge, especially if you're actually actively operating a business. And it's not something I would necessarily recommend to a business. I mean, I would say establish yourself as a brand on YouTube, because it does give you a lot of leeway and a lot of reach into other potential demographics and the ability to collaborate with other people who may feed into and provide references into your business. But you can't necessarily establish enough of a followership to the point where YouTube will provide you with actual direct advertising money. Simply because in order to do that, you have to get hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of views. And oftentimes you're competing with companies who have the financial backing to be able to create that level of, let's just say, virality. And that's another part of the challenge for most standard business owners, is trying to create a strategy around virality is not going to serve you well, because there are so many elements in terms of luck to really bring it all together that it's going to cost you more money to try and create that magical spark. Granted, you can hire teams like the Harmon brothers who have created campaigns for the Purple, the mattress company. They've created stuff for Poopery and the Squatty Potty. All that stuff is really like eye-catching and funny, and those are things that you can try to integrate into your own videos naturally, of course, but it's not something I would necessarily recommend that you strive for every single time, because what inevitably happens is that you're creating this clown persona outside of who you naturally are. And I actually have another episode discussing how you want to be as honest and maintain as much integrity in terms of your personality in the real world and in your professional life as much as possible, because juggling the two things can be tricky. So to go back, no, it's not necessarily the easiest thing. It's not an impossibility to actually broaden and create the kind of reach that a lot of the more famous YouTubers have, so that you can actually monetize your YouTube channel and really get some capital for that effort. But it's not something I would recommend, especially if you're just a business in a local region. I would more recommend you to. I would more steer you in the direction of actually establishing yourself as an authority in your space, in your particular niche, probably in your region. And the way that it would look is, you can say, take for example, Florida auto mechanic discusses how to maintain your paint. That's very specific, and that probably will pop up more easily when people actually go and search for those terms when they try to answer their questions for how to best treat the paint of their car because they live in Florida, as opposed to that may not necessarily work out in California. And the reason why I say this is because it helps to create a big body of videos, big body of content that you can now spin off of, because you know exactly the specific niche that you are serving, the exact specific clientele that you're speaking to, as opposed to trying to fabricate this broad body, this broad mass of people that you're trying to cater your messaging to, which then now you have to manage all of the different perspectives that people have, and that's not necessarily something that will pay off, given that YouTube is just not going to give you any money for that. Another way that you can actually make money by creating videos on YouTube is if you can create merchandise around what it is that you do with your business. For example, if you take if there's something uniquely interesting about your auto body shop that's based in, let's say, Jacksonville, Florida, then people are more likely to go, okay, this is like a famous or well-known auto shop, and they happen to sell T-shirts. You can sell that product out and actually talk about that product and present the value of that product to the people that watch your videos. And so if Johnny's Auto Shop has these really cool designs on their shirt, and they've collaborated with an artist who happens to have some sort of traction or fame on their own, then that would work in your favor by taking advantage of that synergy. Otherwise, you can just do it on your own and create a platform for people locally to be like, hey, I've gone to Bob's Bake Shop forever. It's the place that my family has gone to for generations, and it's just something that speaks to who I am as a person that lives in Tallahassee. And so I want one of those shirts so that I can give one to my kids, and they loved going there as kids, and I'm going to send them off with a T-shirt for them to rock while they're in college to represent the town. Things like that, you can definitely create some strategies to sell merchandise. Even sell, I would say, consulting. So take, for example, attorneys and lawyers. I don't know the very specific legalities around this, but from what I've come to see is you can offer some light advice. For example, very recently I had to find out a bit about some documentation that was necessary for something that I'm dealing with legally, and I had no clue about any of this stuff. and just watching a video or at least watching a couple of videos about that piece of legal documentation, as well as the process required to implement those things, how to submit that piece of paperwork, is a lot easier to take in when I'm listening to an actual practicing attorney or lawyer or what have you, rather than just me trying to find the documentation online directly from the source, maybe from the city that I live in, and read about those things, which can be a lot more boring, and it doesn't address the unique circumstances of what I may have. The beautiful thing about being able to create content around very specific needs and demands of your customers is that you can dial in and really speak to them. And you know that they're never going to be uniquely the only one that has those questions. And so if you happen to have clients down the road who have the same set of questions, you can share that content with them. So that's also another way where you can create some sort of maybe online consulting service that recurs every month for a small fee. And that may be something that helps to feed into, I don't know, let's take, for example, maybe as an attorney or a lawyer with a practice here in Florida, you want to be able to serve people in other states, and maybe you have some knowledge about another state, or there's another state that shares similar laws in a particular area that you serve or cater to. Then you can create maybe a monthly recurring service where people can ask as many questions as they want for, say, a rate of like $5 a month. And that can help to provide income. I mean, that may not be a lot, but that can help to provide advertising money for other things that you may be interested in doing. You can even create platforms where maybe you're a therapist and there's just certain processes, there are certain routines that you know have always been extremely helpful. Like, say, creating a gratitude list. You can create a program around that. You can host and house all of that content and have it just private on YouTube. And you can create a paid sort of consultation or paid video product that you can sell to people, and you can make some money that way as well. So there's certainly a couple of ways to generate income off of YouTube. It's just not the direct way that most people understand it to be, and that's by becoming a big-time influencer, a celebrity in your own right on YouTube, and then just getting advertising money from YouTube directly. That's not necessarily the most effective way that you can make use of your time, especially as a small business owner. So yeah, I hope that was actually super helpful. It's just something that I've had to discuss because when I start to talk to people about using YouTube as a platform, oftentimes it gets into that conversation, and I wanted to discuss that before. I wanted to discuss that so that I could share it with people if they ever have those questions, either via email or via phone. I can take this piece of content right now and then send it to them so that they understand, hey, I'm a small business owner. I'm interested in doing videos on YouTube or Facebook. What are some ways that I can make some money? And can I make money directly off of this service? And so now I have this piece of content to share out to someone to discuss the very same point that I'm sort of sharing with you. That being the case, if you happen to like this and you're watching this on Facebook, go ahead and give it a like. And if you're watching this on YouTube, give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments, questions, thoughts, concerns, by all means, leave that in the comments section so that we can carry this conversation further along into the future. And if you like this, go ahead, and if you're watching this on the Facebook page, go ahead and like the page. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel, as well as, and you have to make sure that you actually hit that notification bell, simply because otherwise you won't be informed that there's been new content produced by yours truly. As always, my name is Mark with Echelon Media. Thank you very much. This has been fantastic. I hope you have a beautiful day. Take it easy.